Good day, good day, good day, good day, and welcome to the Impact Investing Show with your host, Samuel Ikhinmwin, Ikhinmwin. Guys, it's episode 58. Hope you're pumped. Hope you're ready to go. Today, we decided to do a little bit of an earlier show. It's the lunchtime show. It's 1 p.m. on a Saturday, guys. Usually, we do stream every Saturday at 6 p.m., but this week, we thought let's bring it a little bit earlier and see how you guys react/respond to that. So guys, let us know in the chat, let us know in the live chat, or if you're joining us on the replay, let us know in the comments what you think about the slightly earlier show Saturday at 1 p.m. I know some people are still in their gym jams because some people use Saturday as their only day to really rest in, because that's just the way life is for some people. For some people, Monday to Friday is bottlenecked with work, so Saturday is one of the 2 days that they get rest. But guys, without further ado, it's time to jump into the show. Now, first and foremost, if you're brand new to this channel, I want to say a great big welcome to you. This is the Impact Properties channel where you get creative property investing on demand. So if you're looking for new ways to actually invest in property, if you're looking for ways to invest in property with little or none maybe of your own money, then this is the place for you. On our channel, we have a myriad of videos, both live streams like this one right here, where we will be going for about 60 minutes plus in order to give you value as part of our community. But side by side with that, we also have a myriad of shorter videos, 8 to 12 minute videos, where you can get insights, shares, truths about how you can invest in property using creative property investing strategies. Now, it's one of those days, Saturday's the day I love to come and just share with you guys, brain dump with you guys what's been going on in the week as it pertains to the property landscape, so you guys can put yourself in the best position to make sure that you actually win. Now, this is episode 58, and for some of you might be saying, 58 episodes, like how did you even get here? Let me give you the brief breakdown. Last year in 2020, I was the host of one of the largest property networking events in the UK. I hosted the Canary Wharf Property Investors Networking meeting, and that meeting would attract over 100 people on a month-to-month basis. And through means of doing that, every single month at the end of the event, I'd have 20 people, 30 people lining up, asking me questions. Samuel, how do I do this? Samuel, how do I do that? Samuel, how do I get started in property? Samuel, what do I do if I want to kind of create financial independence and leave my job, etc., etc.? Now, when lockdown was announced in 2020 of March, basically all of that was taken away. We were told that we had to stay at home. So we then transitioned that networking event onto an online platform. However, what I found is that I didn't still have the ability to answer people's questions, people that really had questions through the online version of that networking event. So as a result, I said to myself, you know what, let's do what the people really need. Let's find out how we can actually help people. And equally, at the start of the lockdown, what happened is a lot of people were reaching out to me with questions about what they can do specifically to safeguard their portfolio, to carry on generating revenue, to increase the revenue that they were generating, or just to secure the revenue they were generating. Because in many cases, what people were actually doing was were losing money as a result of tenants just upping and leaving, tenants saying, you know what, I don't need to stay here anymore, tenants saying, you know what, this ain't for me. And as a direct byproduct, I had so many people reaching out to me on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on Instagram, and all these direct messaging platforms and all these other ways people were reaching out to me, phone calls, text message, etc., that I said to my team, look guys, what can we do in order to help people moving forward in their property investing journey? And my team said the great idea. They said, listen, Samuel, all you need to do is show up on a regular basis and make yourself available in order to answer people's questions. So we started doing that in 2020 of March with our show, Strategy in the Storm. And what we were effectively doing, we're helping you guys as property investors, budding property investors, property enthusiasts to strategize through the storm. Very quickly, as we started doing that, what we started to find is that if you took all the answers that we were actually providing, if you took all the insights that we were actually giving you guys and put them all together, what we were effectively showing you guys is how to invest in property creatively. So thus we rolled out the second version of the show, which is how to invest in property, and today is episode 58. So guys, if you're someone who's been rocking with us for a period of time and you've been here before, let us know in the chat by writing "been here before." But if you're someone who is absolutely brand new and this is your first time tuning into the channel, tuning into the live show, just write the word "new," N-E-W, in the chat, and we will know that you are new and we'll know to welcome you. Now, now. Quick question. What did we cover last week? For those of you who missed last week's show, okay, I did last week's show in a different venue, but guys, let me tell you, last week's show was fire. Okay, episode 57. What I did in last week's show is I shared with you guys not one, not two, not three, not four, But you guys know Samuel Ikhinmwin loves to over deliver. But 5 reasons why I choose property investing over all other financial vehicles to generate revenue. Now, listen, guys, I shared 2 weeks ago in episode 56 that I have been investing in the cryptocurrency space since 2017. Okay, so for some of you, that's way before you even knew what blockchain was or cryptocurrency was. For some of you, 2017 was way late as it pertains to cryptocurrency. I know I have some of the viewers who have reached out to me and said to me, look, Samuel, we've been invested in cryptocurrency for a long time. We've got a lot of money and we want to get into property. So I know some of you who actually view the show have been invested in cryptocurrency for longer than me. But in 2017 is when I started to buy my first cryptocurrencies. Now, fast forward, okay, having invested in cryptocurrency, fast forward, okay, having invested in stocks and shares for a number of years, okay. I had a lecturer, Professor Parrott, shout out to Professor Parrott, when I was at my first undergraduate university, when I studied my BSc in computing and statistics. And I remember we had a module called financial mathematical modeling. And Professor Parrott, who was our lecturer for that module, said to us, this was back in 2005, early 2000s, he said to us, listen, he said, I'm going to give you an assignment, and your assignment is to take this stock, okay, and he gave every single person in the class a stock, and that was the first stock I ever received, a fake stock, a piece of paper, which said that I was the legal owner of X amount of shares in, I think it was the American Tobacco Company, I think that's what he gave me. But he gave each student a stock, a proverbial stock, and said, look, what I want you to do for the next 12 months, for the next academic year, is I want you to monitor this stock. It might have even been a term. It might not have even been a year. But I want you to monitor this stock. I want you to see when this stock goes up. I want you to see when this stock goes down. I want you to see what's going on with the stock. I want you to be following and tracking the news on this stock. And this is what Professor Parrott asked us to do all those years back. And it was interesting because as he asked us to do that, I kind of got into it. I was like, well, look, I've never owned a stock. I've never owned a share. And I started to ask Professor Parrott about his experience in owning stocks and owning shares. And what Professor Parrott shared with me, again, I hope it's not too much information for the YouTube one, but he shared with me that he used to work for BP, British Petroleum. And he shared that because he used to work for BP, when he left BP, he was gifted a certain amount of shares. So that was kind of how we got into our conversation about shares. And that kind of sparked my fire in the early 2000s around shares and the model of shares and how shares can be used to generate and build wealth. And then fast forward again to being married 2012 and then setting up our family and thinking about children and how we wanted to teach our children financial literacy and financial independence. My wife and I started to play a lot of games with our children, such as the game of Monopoly and also, more importantly, the game of cash flow. Now, the reason I bring these up is because the game cash flow, you actually have stocks and shares involved in the game, whereas in the game Monopoly, it's fully about property. So because of that, what happened is through playing the game cash flow, I started to really rekindle my interest in stocks and shares. And as a result, I started to invest in stocks and shares as well. So I think on last week's show, I was asking the viewers how many people have multiple streams of income. I know the show before, we definitely asked that question as well. And the reason all of this is important is because over the years, from way before 2017, I've been building multiple streams of income in order for me and my family to set up financial independence and also for us to have generational wealth which we can pass on. So all of this stuff's quite important. So for those of you who missed last week's show, after this show, I want to encourage you to go and watch episode 57. In episode 57, like I said, I broke down not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 reasons why I choose property as my primary financial vehicle to build and generate wealth. Okay, and they were very, very powerful, insightful keys and lessons which I would encourage you to go and just engage with and just ask yourself, like, do these make sense to me? Okay, because these are things that I've been teaching for years, and these are things that people that actually understand them see, you know what, that actually makes a lot of sense. Now look, I'm not saying to anybody, and I'll say it again, I want it to be clear, I'm not saying to anybody don't invest in stocks and shares. Okay, so somebody please don't take that little 30 seconds of me saying don't invest in stocks and shares and share that with people as if that's what I'm saying. I am not saying to anyone do not invest in cryptocurrency. We were asked 2 weeks ago, as we had a show which was really focused on cryptocurrency 2 weeks ago, we were asked the question, Samuel, would you advise us to invest in cryptocurrency? And I basically said, listen, You can invest in cryptocurrency if you want. I'm not telling you yay, I'm not telling you nay. This is not financial advice, and we'll go into our disclaimer in a moment. But the reality is, I want you guys to understand that I invest in each and every one of those things that I've mentioned so far on the show, but I still maintain that property is going to be my primary vehicle for financial wealth and development and generational wealth and development. And there's a specific reason. There's actually 5 reasons that I shared on last week's episode. So if you haven't seen last week's episode, go get yourself episode 57 so you can move further faster in your property investing journey. Now, I'm just going to say this really quick because I should say it just to remind you guys. Don't forget to say hi in the chat. If you haven't said hi already, don't forget to say hi. This is the show where you get creative property investing on demand. So don't be a stranger. Feel free to say hi. Let's build that community side by side with that. And side by side with all of that, don't forget to hit that like button, press subscribe, and actually massage that bell notification so you can get all the notifications every single time we go live. Now, guys, let's jump into the disclaimer, and then we will be good to go with tonight's show. Tonight's show, I'm going to be opening the phone lines as usual, but side by side, we're opening the phone lines. We are open to taking your questions. So any questions you have as it pertains to property investment, property ownership, whatever it is, however you're trying to navigate through the property spectrum, field, and world, just send your comments through on the chat and we will give you answers to your questions. So here's the disclaimer. All information provided and results given are exemplary. Each person's results may vary or differ. Results are based on consistent implementation of strategies, and we advise that you seek legal and financial advice from a qualified professional. And if you're one of those people who are looking for qualified professionals, let us know and we will be happy to direct you to people who can help you move further faster in your property investing journey by giving you insights, by sharing with you and showing you exactly what you need to do, whether that be mortgage brokers, whether that be advisors, whether that be legal counsel, etc., etc., etc. We got it all. We got all the connections. And the reason we got all those connections is because we've been doing this for a big minute, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing. All right, guys. So with all of that being said, it's that time. Let's jump in. I'm going to open up the phone lines right now. If someone wants to phone in, feel free. You can call in and let us know what you're trying to get solved as it pertains to your property investing journey. But side by side with the phone lines being open, again, don't be a stranger. Feel free, guys, if you got questions, to write your questions, send your questions via the comments also into the chat, and we'll be happy to help you with that. Okay, so phone line is open. Let me read the phone line open. We got Vladdy in the chat who's already said, I've got a question. Vladdy, throw your question in or jump on the phone line. You choose, free to choose. Phone line number is 0330 606 0403. Access code on the screen. One more time for those of you who didn't hear it. Maybe there's some of you who are sitting all the way in the back. So if you're one of those sitting all the way in the back, phone line number is 0330 606 0403. And like I said, we have the access number in the chat. So Vladdy has thrown in that they have a question. Vladdy, feel free to ask your question. Again, like I said, feel free over the chat, or if you want, you can go through straight onto the phone lines. Now, guys, this is funny because what I wanted to do, I wanted to start today's show by just sharing with you guys some feedback from 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I spoke about cryptocurrency. I spoke about how Elon Musk was going to be making an appearance on Saturday Night Live, the show. And I was very, very clear that his words, his engagement, his experience, his show is going to have an impact on the actual price of Dogecoin. And it happened, guys. It actually happened. I got people throwing in the chat comments. Guys, thank you for throwing in the chat. We're going to touch that in one moment. So let's just touch base on this Doge thing. So we had a bunch of people on the show 2 weeks ago where we went and deep dived onto the discussion about cryptocurrency and its connection and relationship to property. And as we did that, what we started to do is we started to see that not only was there a connection between cryptocurrency and property, but one of the things that I shared is that that connection is going to get stronger and stronger as time goes by. And the reason it's going to get stronger and stronger as time goes by, simply because of the simple fact that cryptocurrency is a form of payment. It's a method of payment. It's a more modern method of payment than fiat currency, but nonetheless, it is a method of payment. And as a result of it being a method of payment, one of the things we were sharing is that over time, we're going to start to see the correlation and relationship between cryptocurrency and between property. So with all of that being said, let's have a quick look at what's taking place in the market. I got this message straight after our show 2 weeks ago. This was like a day after the show. And you should be able to see exactly what it says here. It says Dogecoin's price soars, okay, as Elon Musk hints that Tesla could accept cryptocurrency, okay? Now, if you go into this article, it begins to start to break these things down. Now, again, it's not a fully property-based article, so it's not one we're going to go into in depth on today's show. But I just wanted to bring it up so you guys could see exactly how a tweet, okay, in some cases, how a tweet is having a massive effect in terms of what's going on in the specific market. So let's have a quick look at this. It basically says more than 1 million people voted in a Twitter poll asking if the electric car maker should accept the cryptocurrency. So this was published on the 11th of May. So again, fairly recent news, 10 days ago, 11 days ago, where we were able to actually see that Elon Musk is continuing, okay? He is continuing to utilize his influence to rally people, and potentially to rally price. Now, we have seen since 2 weeks ago and Elon Musk's appearance on the Saturday Night Live show that the price of cryptocurrency has actually reduced in value. Some people have hinted that being, well, specifically in terms of Elon Musk's involvement, due to the fact that, you know, Elon Musk shared on the day that he doesn't take things seriously, etc., etc. So, guys, I want you to keep your eye out. If there's things you're investing in, if there's things you're doing, I want you to be mindful that, look, you have to understand what you are doing. Don't invest in anything without knowing what you're doing. Don't invest in anything without feeling confident. Don't invest in anything without surrounding yourself with the right people and resources in order to help you move further faster in your property investment or any other investment journey, okay? Because there's so many people who have no clue what they're doing. Their friend says, oh, Doge, and they say, oh, coin, okay? But what you need to be doing is being one of those people who do your due diligence. I'm going to say that one more time. Be one of those people who do your due diligence, because due diligence is the name of the game, not only in property, but in every and any other thing that you may be doing in order for you to win and win big. All right, now the chat is going off the hook, so let's just jump into the chat real quick. Let's see what you guys are saying. And guys, I've said it already, I'll say it again. If you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button side by side with that. If you're not subscribed, you know what you should do. And after hitting subscribe, just massage that bell notification so you can stay up to date and notified every single time we go live, every single time we drop a video, every single time we come back with more value for you. Now, with all that being said, let's jump straight into the questions that we have on the show. We got questions coming through already, which is all good. All right. Let's see if we can take some of these questions. So we got Rex Banner. We got my man Rex in the chat. Rex is showing love, saying good to see you, Samuel. Thank you ever so much, Rex, for showing up and joining us on the show. Here we go. All right, so Rex says, hi, Samuel, a bit earlier than usual. Yes, Rex, we are earlier than usual. We decided to have a little lunchtime show today, just see how you guys would like it. From how the chat is popping off, I think there might be a little hit taking place here, but it's all good. All right, let's go forward. So Vlad is in the chat. Vlad says, in your experience, what is the best way to get on the property ladder whilst living in London? Powerful question. First and foremost, Vlad, let us know if you're new to the channel. If you're new to the channel, write the word new in the chat, Vlad, so we can be able to welcome you as a newcomer to the channel and the live stream. But Vlad, look, let me jump straight into your question, because I think your question is a powerful question. First thing I'm going to say is go and watch our video on our channel. It's a short video. I think it's about 8 minutes long. The video is called "Are There Deals in London?" Okay, that's the first thing I would encourage you to do. And the reason I'm going to encourage you to do that is because many people, the challenge most people have in terms of moving forward in property, specifically those who live in places like London, those who live in places like Brighton, and I'm just talking UK first, those who live in places, if we talk about US, like New York, those who live in places where property prices are astronomical, okay, those places where prices are hinged on the fad of the fact that this is the capital, on the fad of this is the most spoken about place in the world. For those people, a lot of the time, the biggest hurdle you have to overcome is your mindset. The biggest hurdle you have to overcome is your mentality and belief system that you can actually do things and you can actually make it right here in London, for example. So the first thing I'd say to you, okay, wow, Vlad, I'm feeling that. Vlad already said he's new, and he said, or Vlad said that they're new, and Vlad said that they've watched it. So Vlad, thank you for letting us know you're new. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the live stream. And if you've watched that video already, then you're not new to the channel, just new to the stream. But yeah, you know, thank you for joining us today on the stream. Now, I would say this. From my experience, the best way for someone to get onto the property ladder, if they're based in somewhere like London, is really to do exactly what we talk about on this channel: look for creative property investing opportunities. Now, what might that look like? I'll give you three. I like to over deliver. I'll give you 3 ways that you can do that really simply in the London market, which will help you if you're actually moving forward as it pertains to property. The first one I will call is house hacking. This is something that I talk about a lot of the times with my private coaching clients, also with my online students. House hacking is a real big key that allows you to access markets such as the London market. Now, what is house hacking? Part of house hacking is potentially collaborating to buy property. So who could you potentially buy property with in London if your income isn't where it needs to be? And I think I slightly oversaw a point you made further to your question. So let me jump into it. You said, keep in mind, you don't have large capital to start with. You have around 25K to invest. You are aware of buy, refurbish, refinance, and rent, and you would love to do a buy, refurbish, refinance, and rent project, but London is overpriced. I believe you're talking about market. So look, I'd say this to you. BRR, okay, buy, refurbish, refinance. That type of a strategy, can it work in London? Yes, it can. All right. But the only way a strategy like that really works in London is if you really know what you're doing. And if you're just starting out, I wouldn't encourage you to be shooting for opportunities like BRR, okay? But what I am going to do is I'm going to break some stuff down for you. So the first thing I said to you a moment ago, and this is going back to Rex's question, I want you guys to have a good handle of this. This is why I'm going to take my time with this and make sure that you guys get the real insights as it pertains to exactly what we're talking about. So Vlad asked the question, in my experience, what is actually the best way to get on the property ladder whilst living in London? And what I said I was going to do is break down not 1, not 2, but 3 different ways that you can do that. Now, the first way is house hacking, okay? Now, by house hacking, we're talking about who can you potentially collaborate with in order to buy a property with. Now, Vlad has gone on further to say that he has access, or they have access, to roughly 25,000. Vlad, let me know, are you male? Are you female? I don't like making assumptions. I assume that you're a guy, but Vlad, I assume that you're a male. Let me use that term, because these days we call everybody a guy. But look, Vlad, let me know, are you male? Are you female? So I don't feel awkward saying he, or she. Thank you ever so much. I appreciate that, Vlad. Now, going on further, okay, Vlad has explained, all right, in Vlad's question here, in my experience, what's the best way to get on the property ladder whilst living in London? Vlad's gone on further to explain that there's 25K available in terms of capital, but not much more than that. Vlad is also quite familiar with the BRRR strategy, which stands for buy, refurbish, refinance, and rent. For those of you who don't know, now you do know. So Vlad's basically saying, what do I do to move forward in light of that situation? And that's exactly what we're going to break down. We're not going to break down 1, we're not going to break down 2, we're going to actually break down 3 different ways that I believe Vlad can use in order to get into property in London, okay, in the London market, and I'd say right now, okay, and I'm going to use that terminology right now because it's all about what's relevant now. It's not about what's relevant tomorrow. It's not about what was relevant last week, etc., etc., etc. Vlad says, Mel, thank you, Vlad. You made it easy on my life. So let's break it down for Vlad, how Vlad can move forward and move further faster in his property investing journey. Now, first thing is this. Let's look at your resources, okay? I usually use the online calculator. Today I won't. I got a little calculator with me here. £25,000. Okay, so the first thing is to ask yourself, based on your capital, how much property can you buy? Now, with the current regime of things, if you're saying you want to get into the property market, I assume that means you don't even own your own property. So £25,000 could potentially at this stage be a 5% deposit. Okay, I want you to write that down. If you're one of those people who've been rocking with me for a while, you know you should have your stylus right now. You know you should have your pen. You know you should have your iPad, your notepad, and all of that stuff so you can take notes and make sure you get massive value out of tonight's or today's show. So this is what we're going to jump straight into. Vlad has 25,000 in capital. Vlad, if your 25,000 is perceived, okay, if your 25,000 is perceived as a 5% deposit, which it can be used as right now under the current climate, okay, I want you to think about that. Then what that basically means is that you potentially have access to £500,000 worth of mortgage ability from your capital, okay? So that's the first thing to understand. With £25,000 as a deposit, you could buy up to £500,000 worth of property. So first basis to touch and to understand is, look, from your seed capital, the 25K is a reasonable amount of money, because £500,000 is a reasonable amount of property in London. Okay, so if you were saying, okay, I'm just trying to get £20,000 worth of property, £200,000 worth of property, then if we're in the London market, we're like, hold on a minute, Vlad, look, this don't make any sense economically. But when you've got £25,000 and under the current regime where you can be a first-time buyer or you can be a home mover and use 25,000 as a 5% deposit, that puts you in a great position already, okay, for you to be in a position right now, Vlad, to basically use that 25,000 as a 5% deposit on £500,000 worth of property. So that's the first thing, okay? Second thing is, in order for you to access that £500,000, you're gonna need to be able to have what is £425,000 worth of employability. So to get that, okay, you're gonna need to be able to show that you have 95, let's just call it 95 to round the number, £95,000 worth of annual salary accessible to you, okay? Now, you may not have that, okay? Because for me, what I find with a lot of my coaching clients and students is in many cases, this is where they stumble. Some of them might have 50K in the bank. Some of them might have 100K in the bank. Some of them might have 200K in the bank. I've got coaching clients with different amounts of funds that they have accessible to, whether it's their own funds, whether it's inheritance, whether it's whatever it is that they've basically put together. But the reality is, in many cases, they don't necessarily have the mortgageability because they don't necessarily have the salary or the income or the revenue. And again, obviously, you know, 2020 was a year where we saw a lot of people lose their jobs. So I'm just going to go based on the fact that potentially maybe you might not have £95,000 worth of accessible salary. And another reason I'll do that is because 60,000 and plus is generally seen as kind of a cap in the UK / specifically in London. So if you don't have £95,000 worth of disposable income or worth of salary, the question is, how could you create £95,000 worth of income or salary? Excuse me. Now, one of the ways you might be able to do that, I shared this slightly earlier, is by partnering up, okay? Now, again, if you want to connect with a mortgage broker to understand more about that, let us know. Send us an email, info@impactproperties.co.uk, and we can connect you with a mortgage broker who can talk you through this process of exactly what I'm talking about. Now, again, they can't give you financial advice, but they can give you mortgage advice. So let us know if you want that. You can email us, info@impactproperties.co.uk, and we'll be able to help you with that. Now, all the links are in the description. All the information is in the description if you want to proceed with that. Now, let's keep going. So Vlad, all you need is those two things. All you need is your 25K, which you have already as capital. And secondarily, you need £95,000 a year in salary. Now, you may not have that yourself, but between you and your spouse, you might have that. You might have 40K a year on a salary. She might have 50K a year on a salary. That puts you at 90, you're 5K off. All you got to do is decide to go for a house for 450K rather than a house for 500K, for example. But let's come back to the model of what I'm talking about. I'm speaking about the concept of house hacking. Now, why is house hacking relevant? Why is house hacking valuable? Because if you house hack, for example, buy more house than you need. With 450k, you can probably buy a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house in London, okay? Depending on which part of London, but you could definitely buy a 3-bedroom house in parts of London with £400,000. And that's not even using all of your 25k capital. That might use 20,000 of your 20,000 of your 25k capital and allow you to use the additional 5 for fees, etc., etc. Now, if you're going to go with this approach, you're going to have to be quick, because I'm talking about right now. Right now, we've got a stamp duty holiday, so if you can get the legals and all of that done quickly, then you could be in with a great deal in this regard. But the point is, if you bought £400,000 worth of property, if you bought a 3-bedroom house, a 4-bedroom house, and you and your spouse, who were able to raise that £90,000 per annum salary, decided to stay in one room in this 3-4-bedroom house and take on some lodgers in the second room and in the third room, what could happen is the lodger paying £700 and the other lodger paying £800 per month may create for you £1,500 every single month, which allows you to pay your mortgage, which might be something like £1,200 a month, and also pay some subsequent bills. Okay, now what that does is that puts you in a fantastic position, because what most people do, and again, I usually only teach my personal students this, but what most people do is they don't realize where the biggest expenses are in our common life. Our biggest expenses are generally taxes, generally our current place of living, our current dwelling, and then all the associated costs with that. So if you understand that, because the UK market is slightly different to America. In America, the most expensive costs usually are their, first and foremost, their taxes, secondarily their house payment, and then thirdly their car payment, okay? Because in America, a lot of people use a car note, which is basically finance on their cars. Now in the UK, we do the same. A lot of people use finance on their cars, but it's just not as common as a market as it is in the US. So as a direct byproduct, for many people in the UK, they don't necessarily finance their cars. Lots of people do, but not everybody does. Okay, I don't finance cars. I don't think I've ever financed a car, but I've owned a lot of cars. But that's just because the ethos, the characteristic, the culture in the UK is not a big rent your car kind of environment, even though there are still a lot of people who do it in the UK. Now, coming back to where we're going with this question, Vlad, first thing is house hacking. House hacking is all about potentially buying a bit more house than you need and then leveraging the extra part of the house that you don't need in order to generate an income. So that's the first thing I'd say to you, Vlad. If you're looking at how you can move forward in the London market, I would say look at that. Look at how you can house hack, how you can use that 25k you have accessible to buy more house than you need and then house hack. Now, why might that be valuable to you? Well, the reason it might be valuable to you is the question is, where did the 25k come from? If the 25k came from 5 years of saving £5,000 a year from your current salary, and now you're able to house hack, i.e. live for free, which is the principle I teach, where you can move into this 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house, rent out 2 free rooms, 2 lodgers, and they're now paying your mortgage as well as a few of your other expenses. Now you're in a great position where you can do what now? Where you can continue to save your actual income. And if you can continue to save your actual income, by then your spouse might have bought into the idea, and now you can be in a space where you're saving the $5,000 a year and she's saving the $5,000 a year, and now instead of 4 years for you to raise 20,000 or 5 years for you to raise 25,000, you're now doing that in 2 years or 2.5 years, making your ability to buy property radically reduced. Now the next time you have another 25k, you now go and do, like we said, the BRR, because you're a little bit more experienced, you got some traction under your belt, you might have done a few 1 or 2 small refurbishments in your existing property, etc., etc., etc. So Vlad, hopefully you get value from that. That's the first way. Let's go into the second way. So the first way is house hacking. Second way, okay, is look at methods of control, okay? And I teach this all the time, specifically throughout the year 2020. I was running a masterclass every single Monday, basically speaking about how to find great property deals, and that included in the London market. And one of the main things I was saying to people is don't be so fixated on what most people want, which is ownership, ownership, ownership. You can have ownership over time if you understand the power of control now, okay? So what I would say to you is look at methods of control. In the London market, like any other market, there are a myriad of investors who want to exit the market, people who want to retire, especially because the Section 24, the tax changes that were implemented recently, especially because of HMO legislations that was implemented over the last couple of years, especially because of so many other things that I could go down a whole long list. But these are things we've been speaking about from episode 1 of this show, okay? So again, for those of you who haven't seen any episode prior to this live show, go watch some of those older episodes. You'll get a lot of insights, a lot of knowledge, a lot of understanding on how you can effectively more accurately invest in property. So the second way outside of house hacking, which was way 1, is way number 2. And for Vlad, what I want to share with you is look at way number 2, i.e. look at how you can control property assets in the London market. Now, through means of creative control, using things such as lease option agreements, you may be able to take control of a property with the opportunity to buy that property in the future at a price that you have negotiated today. Now, the reason that's valuable is because that allows you to maybe agree a price today, let's say 350, 400,000, like we were talking about a moment ago. And now, although you've agreed a price today, 400,000, you're not going to execute on that price for 4 years, 5 years, maybe even 7 years. Now, in 7 years' time, the market where you were agreeing a property for 450,000 may have moved, and that property may now be worth 580,000, 600,000, 700,000, who knows? But the reality is you had agreed a 450,000 pound purchase price. So I would say the second way, first way, again, remember that house hack. Second way, look for opportunities to control property assets in the London market. It's a way that you'd have low investment getting in, but side by side with that, you will have major payoff coming through. All right, so I want you to make sure that you've got that plugged in, dialed in, and understand exactly where we're going with that. Now, let's go into the third way. Like I said, I want to give you guys massive value, so let's open up the third way. The third way I would share with you, Vlad, if you were interested in actually getting into the London property market, is doing something I did years ago when I wanted to get into property, and I found that I didn't necessarily have the funds, and that was I found a coach and I learned how to source property opportunities. Now, the skill of sourcing property opportunities is not what most people think it is. It's not just finding great deals. There are 3 to 4 parts of it, and we break that down in our sourcing blueprint. If you haven't ever read our sourcing blueprint, you can go to the link sourcingblueprint.com and you can go get that ebook absolutely free. Completely free ebook, sourcingblueprint.com. One more time for the people in the back, sourcingblueprint.com. Now, why am I sharing with you that you should go and read the sourcingblueprint.com? Because in the sourcing blueprint, I break down the 4 key ways that you need to become accustomed with, acclimatized with, in order for you to be able to find great property deals. And I'll share them with you very quickly right now. The first one is marketing. You need to get good at marketing. Rex, let me say this to you. If you get good at marketing, you will have great property opportunities coming in your direction. But that's not enough. You then have to get good at managing relationships, so that the people coming to you saying, hey, you know what, Rex? Hey, you know what, Vlad? Hey, you know what, Samuel? I need to sell this property with speed. Hey, you know what, Rex? You know what, Vlad? You know what, Samuel? I need to get this property off my hands. I don't want to own or manage this property anymore. So what that now does for you, Vlad, is it puts you in a great position, because now you've got things coming to you, and if you learn how to manage those relationships, you can take them to the third stage, which is all about measuring the opportunity. Now, in the sourcing blueprint, when we speak about measuring, we're talking about working out where the revenue can actually be made from this opportunity, and then we wrap up in the sourcing blueprint with the 4th M, which is basically all about maturing. How do you take that opportunity and get it over the line and get it into the position where you now have the money in your bank? So the point is, you want to go get the sourcing blueprint. You can go get that from sourcingblueprint.com, and I will ensure, Vlad, that if you go get that and you go read that and understand the central tenets shared in that very short ebook that I created, you'll put yourself in a great position to start sourcing, finding great property opportunities that you can sell and trade to other investors who are looking for great deals in the London market. And after doing that 1, 2, 3, 4 times, you will build your own deposit pot in order for you to be able to buy for yourself. Vlad, let us know in the comments how many stars you give to your answer that we provided for you. This is the place, guys, where you get creative property investing on demand. And I'll say it again, if you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. Side by side with that, press subscribe if you're not subscribed. And why don't you massage that bell notification so you can be kept up to date every single time we drop another video? That was a lot of value, boy. That was a lot of value. Rex says in the comments, value. Thank you, Rex. Appreciated, especially considering I kept calling Vlad Rex throughout that, but it's all good. The joys of going 100 miles an hour in order to give people the value. All right, let's keep going, guys. Hope you guys are getting value on tonight's show. If you are getting value on today's show, have to remember that we're at 1 p.m. today. Hope you guys are getting value on today's show. If you are getting value, feel free to write the word value in the chat, just so that people know what's happening here. And if you haven't hit that like button so the YouTube algorithm can tell other people this is the place to be right now as it pertains to moving forward in your property investing journey. So Rex says, good to see you. Good to see you too, Rex, proverbially through the YouTube channel. Rex throws in a question. Let's jump into Rex's question. Rex says, question. Okay. Rex says, Samuel, I'm looking to undertake a loft conversion and extension in the South London area. Question goes on to say, what advice would you give in order to source suitable builders? I think that's a fantastic question. All right. I'm going to give you one word, but I'm going to say it 3 times because it's as powerful as 3 principles. And that one word, which I will say 3 times, is recommendation, recommendation, recommendation. Listen, Rex, there is no there's no short straw as it pertains to what I'm talking about with recommendations. When it comes to builders, you want recommendations. Now, again, depending on which part of Southeast you're in, feel free to email us at info@impactproperties.co.uk, and we can potentially make 1 or 2 recommendations as it pertains to builders in that location and in that locality. But the reality is, guys, listen, when you are looking for tradesmen, when you are looking for builders, you want to work with people who have been highly recommended, not just recommended, but highly recommended. And the reason why is because, look, they may cost more, okay? It may be the case, they may cost more. But the one thing you don't want is you do not want people stealing your money. You do not want people bodging your job. You do not want people cutting corners. Listen, I've got a contact of mine who reached out to me yesterday, basically, who's just had a roof repaired. And let me tell you something. They were telling me, listen, they were afraid. There's a lady, she was basically saying she was afraid to actually call in these contractors because she didn't want them to try to take advantage of her psychologically, financially, etc., assuming that she's just a little lady who doesn't understand how these things work. And guys, let me tell you something. The trades are real. There are builders out there who will try to take advantage, but equally there are builders out there who are good, who have self-respect, and as a result, they will respect you as a client as well. So Rex, I know it's a short answer, but let me tell you, that answer is really probably even more powerful than what I shared with Vlad, because on Vlad's question, you got to learn how to do these things. You got to learn how to house hack. You got to know every step of the way in order to make those things happen. Equally with recommendation, you have to learn how to do that. But the key is recommendation. Try to look for recommendations. This is one of the things I would do if I was you. And again, this is just giving some more value, Rex, so you can actually see exactly how you can take advantage of this. What I would do if I was you is I would spend a day or two, okay, probably a weekday, not a weekend, spend a day or two driving around my area, okay? So when I say my area, I don't just mean your postcode. So let's say, for example, you're in SE5. I don't just mean SE5, but I mean SE5, SE4, SE3. Drive around a few neighboring postcodes. As you drive around those postcodes, look for properties where the loft is being converted. Look for properties where they've got the scaffolding up. Look for properties where the extent of work being done is similar to the extent of work you expect to be done in your specific property in obviously the similar region / location. Then Rex, when you find someone who's specifically doing work in these different places, sometimes if they kind of know what they're doing, know how to promote themselves, they'll have a banner up which will basically say, Samuel and Samuel loft conversions, and then it will say the number, call us on 0203 369 3691, for example. What you want to do is you want to take that number 0203 369 3691 and you want to call it and you want to say, hey, I'm looking to speak to someone from Samuel and Samuel's loft conversions, and I wanted to find out, guys, I got a loft, can I call you guys over for a quote? Now, ideally, when you take the couple days to drive around your area, you're going to find 3 to 5 different people doing these kind of jobs. And what you want to do is you want to call all of them. When they all book a date in order for them to come around, you want to just connect with them, speak to them, see how they're doing, see how they get on with the job. Okay, cool. After they give you your quote, the next thing you want to do, regardless of the price, is you want to reach out to them again, call that same number, 0203 369 3691, and basically say to them, listen, how do you feel about me coming to see one of the jobs you guys are currently on, and maybe even connecting with one of your references from a job you've done previously? Now, what will happen is, obviously, because you've already seen them on a job, you already know where the job is, so you know how far you're going to have to go. And unless they've finished that job, they're going to call you to come in and see that job. Now, first things first is you get to see their current standard of work, which is great. Second thing is when they give you the reference of a previous client, you want to ask the client. And listen, let me tell you this. I'm going to be very transparent, Rex. Most people don't do what I'm talking about. All right? I'm going to come back and say this again. All right? Most people don't want to do what I'm talking about. The reason I'm saying this, okay, and the reason I'm being transparent about this is because this. You see, this is what I learned from coaching people for over a decade. When you coach people for over 10 years, you see that giving them the right information doesn't mean they're going to go and do it. Okay, we got a video that's going to be released fairly soon in a week or two, which basically breaks down, is your spouse keeping you rich or making you poor? Okay, Is your spouse making you rich or making you poor? That video is being, the editor's working on that right now. And that's going to be released maybe next Monday, maybe the Monday after. But the point is this, guys, that video is a video you want to make sure you watch when it gets released. So again, for those of you who ain't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. The reason I'm saying that is because in that video, one of the things I break down is about accountability. And I basically share my own story about how I got married and how it had a massive effect in terms of my future as it pertains to property investing because of the accountability that was kept from my wife for me in order for me to move forward on the things I said I wanted to achieve. Now, why is this important to you? Well, the reason it's important to you is because what you have to understand is when you're going out looking for builders, when you're going out looking for tradesmen, when you're going out to all of the levels of what I've explained, most people are not going to do all of this. Most people are going to do the first thing, maybe, oh, Samuel gave me a good hint. Yeah, I can drive around. I can look for telephone numbers. Oh, I got a number, 020336936991. Okay, I can call that number. But what most people don't realize is that's not where the value is. The value is in doing all of the steps to the end so you get the most rigorous process going on. And if you trust that process, you get the results of that process, okay? So let me go back to the process, finish up so you guys know exactly what we mean when we talk about recommendation and when we talk about going through this approach. So like I said, you get these telephone numbers, you call the telephone numbers, you ask the people on the telephone number for a quote. They send over their tradesmen give you a quote. Straight after you get the quote, you contact them again. You say to them, can I see a current job and also can I get a previous reference? They let you come and see the current job. Most of them should do that. Even with this whole lockdown stuff, they should still do that, okay? After they let you see the current job, they give you the contact details of a previous job, and you obviously speak to them. Now, here's the step most people are not going to do. When you speak to the previous occupant or the previous owner of the property that they did previously, you ask that owner, how would you feel about me coming to see the job, coming to see the work that they did, and allowing you to explain to me what they actually did for you so I can have an understanding of what the work's going to look like they do on my house after 3 months, after 6 months, after 9 months, after 12 months, etc., etc., etc. Do the last step. Okay, do the last step, because by doing that last step, you put yourself in the greatest position to really scrutinize the work. And for some builders, some cheeky, crafty builders out there, just saying, the person they give you as the past reference has had no work done. So when you ask for that invitation, you may get told, oh, no, unfortunately, I won't allow you in my house or wherever it is. I won't allow you in my buy-to-let property or whatever it is. Okay, so be mindful of things like that. Okay, it does happen. It doesn't mean, listen, I want to say this, I want to be transparent. It doesn't mean if someone says no, you can't come to their house, that definitely the builder didn't do any work. But I do want to let you know there are some builders out there who are crafty. Okay, so they can give you anyone as a reference. But those will be the things I would say you should do. So Rex, let us know in the chat how many stars you give to your answer as well. 7 stars, 100 stars, 1,000 stars. Let us know if you got value from the answer to your question. All right, let's jump in further. We got Vlad. Okay, this was what Vlad added to his question earlier. Vlad said, keep in mind he doesn't have a large capital to start with. He has around 25k to invest. He is aware of BRR, buy, refurbish, refinance and rent, and he would love to do a buy, refurbish, refinance and rent project, but London is an overpriced environment. Okay, awesome, thank you for sharing that. So let's jump into Rex's next comment. Rex says, or do you have any you'd recommend? Yes, Rex, as I mentioned, email our team, info@impactproperties.co.uk. Just write in the email, I'm looking for builders. I was on Samuel's live show. Samuel mentioned at the lunchtime live show that they may have builders for us in the SE area. What would be ideal, Rex, is if you actually state which part of Southeast London you're in, and then we can definitely do that. That shouldn't be a problem at all. Also, in order to minimize risk, what steps would you put in place? Example, contracts. Okay, so this is another question, but I'll answer this question. Rex asked the question, if you've got builders coming to your property, if you've got builders you're trying to sign up, what steps would you put in place in order to ensure that you are safe and you protect yourself? Well, there's 2 things I'm going to give you. Okay, and I'll give you these 2 things fairly quick so I can make sure I get through some other questions as well. The first thing I'd say to you, Rex, is yes, you do want to have a contract, but you want that contract to also have what we call a schedule of works. You want that contract to stipulate what work will be done and when it will be done. Now listen, most people are afraid of having a contract with a schedule of works. You know why? Because they think they have to create it. No, the builder should create that schedule of works, and the 2 of you, I'm going to say that again, the 2 of you, because most people allow the builder to create the contract. Oh, he's a builder, he does it all the time, he's always signing these contracts. No, the builder should not create the contract on their own. Okay, so both the builder and the the investor, let me use that terminology, the builder and the investor should create the contract together, because it's a contract that you're both entering into together. But the builder can provide a schedule of works which you can scrutinize and say, I agree with, I disagree with, etc., etc. So that's the first thing. So the first thing to do is, yes, have a contract with a viable schedule of works. Now, the second thing you do is you connect your payment schedule with your schedule of works / contract. Okay, so you don't just pay 50% upfront and 50% on completion. You don't do that. You don't do that, guys. You don't do that. I've got a student, okay, one of my online students, guy jumped on our program in 2020. You know, throughout the lockdown, this guy was getting deals. This guy was sending me messages. Some of his messages you guys have seen on the show, where he was saying, look, Samuel, thank you ever so much. You know, throughout the lockdown, you know, I had other coaches that I was working with before who were telling me in lockdown, slow down, sit back. But you were telling me to keep going. And because you told me to keep going, I got my first lease option. He went on to take over a HMO, went on to do a few other things. Most recently, he's messaged me and said he sourced 2 deals, £8,500 was his full payment for the 2 deals that he sourced as well. So, guys, the first thing I want to say from that is you can get success whilst everyone else is under their pillow. Okay, so that's just that's just being thrown out there. But the reason I bring up this gentleman is because this gentleman finished our online program. Okay, because our online program is a 7-module program. Finished our 7-module program. And because of whatever it was, I don't know what it was, but the guy didn't reach out to me to say, look, I've taken on this property. I used the 7-module program to get this property. I'm winning. Okay. But then he didn't reach out to me and the team to say, look, I'm about to do refurbishment. I'm about to have builders in. And what should I do? All the questions Rex is asking here for free. Okay, guys, I want to say this because I want you guys to understand. I have a coaching client, a particular coaching student, online student who I'm thinking about right now, who didn't do what Rex is doing right now, okay? Asking the continuous questions, not just the initial questions. And as a result, he went and got a builder in to do the works on his property, and he was unhappy with the work. He ended up having to ask the builder to leave and then reaching out to us after the drama and saying, look, Samuel, this is what's happened. And I was just livid. I was like, why didn't you reach out originally? Why didn't you say to us at the beginning, listen, guys, you know, I need your help, And this is the way things work. Some people join online programs because they've done online programs with other people or training or courses with other people. They join online programs and think, oh, my 7 modules are up, I'm out of here. They don't realize, listen, making a commitment to develop yourself is lifelong. So when people join our online program, listen, they're a part of the family. This is not just, okay, we see you after 7 weeks and then say goodbye. We do not engage in that. So for those of you who are interested in our online program, reach out to us as well, info@impactproperties.co.uk. Let me know in the chat, whatever you want to do, just let us know, slide in our DMs. You know how it is. Follow us on Instagram, Impact Properties London. No hyphens, no spaces, no gaps. Yeah, guys, this is the moment. I'm just plugging it all. But you know what it is. Connect with us, okay? Because if you need the help, we're here to help and we want to help you. So for Rex's question, to mitigate risk, there are 2 things I would advise. First thing, yes, have a contract, but ensure that contract has a schedule of works associated with it. So the failure to follow the schedule of works by time frames, by the specific deadlines and dates, could work out as consequential actions. Okay, so there may be finance that's removed or payment schedules that are delayed due to certain work not being done. Okay, and then obviously secondarily, make sure that your finance connection, your payment schedule is mirrored or married to the contract. So, you know, deliverable of certain aspects determines the release of certain funds. Okay, I want to say that I've seen and heard of too many people who have been duped by builders, told we're going to do this tomorrow, told you buy all the materials today and we'll do the work and you can just pay us for the labor after 3 weeks because we've started the work. Guys, listen, just don't do it. Don't do it. I don't want you to lose your shirt, and I definitely don't want you to lose your money. You see, you can lose your shirt, but we use money to buy a new shirt back. But if you lose your money and lose your shirt, then boy, I don't know what to tell you. Let's keep going forward. Rex, thank you for that question. Fantastic question. And again, let us know in the chat how many stars you give to that answer. Okay, so we got my man Vlad in the chat who says he's new. Vlad says he's male. I got those comments coming through. Thank you ever so much, Vlad, for keeping us up to date. All right, the comments go on. Let's come in. Let's jump in. Rex says value. Thank you for your comment, Rex. Rex says, Samuel, what are some of your favorite apps that help you with your property journey? Powerful question, all right? And this, I gotta say this, okay? This is not the first time I've been asked this question on the show, and I'm sure it's not gonna be the last time I'm asked this question on the show. So, in order to answer you effectively, Rex, I'm not trying to skip your question, but I'm going to say hold out for us, please, okay? Because the first person who asked me was actually Dr. Yogesh. Some of you know Dr. Yogesh. He is a long-term viewer of the channel, a long-term subscriber of the channel, and Dr. Yogesh is always in and out of the streams. I think, Rex, you've obviously been on the stream with Dr. Yogesh before as well, but Dr. Yogesh, I think, was the first person who ever asked me that a couple of episodes back, and what I shared with Dr. Yogesh is the same thing I'm going to share with you, Rex. Our editor, our new editor, okay? Shout out to the new editor, Digivon. He's doing a great job. Javon is on a roll in terms of his work with us right now. So yeah, we're so glad to have been able to take on board our new editor. But our new editor is working on that video proverbially as we speak. That's in his current workflow. So the video's coming soon. It will be 8 to 12 minutes long. It's not going to be a live stream, okay? It'll be 8 to 12 minutes long. My best property apps for property investors, okay? So that video is coming. So Rex, please bear with us. It may be 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, but it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, all right? It's coming, and we're going to get that out to you guys. So guys, I apologize for the delay, but I'm gonna leave that for the app. I gotta leave something, okay? I'm gonna leave that for the video. I gotta leave something. But we've got a video coming out very soon, guys, where we will break down, you know, my favorite apps that I use in property investing. And what I did specifically is I didn't make it sourcing centric or rent to rent centric or service apartment centric or creative deal centric. What I actually made it, I made it very general. So if you're a developer, if you're an investor, if you're a budding investor, wherever you are on the journey, you will be able to use every single one of these apps and take advantage of them. So Rex, thank you for the question. We'll come back to that. All right, cool. Let's jump in. So Vlad says, powerful question or powerful statement. Vlad says he'd like to share that in the past 2 years, he actually house hacked by letting 2 spare rooms on Airbnb. Later on, he learned it was illegal. Luckily, he didn't get caught. Well, hey, Vlad, you shouldn't have written the comment on here because I don't know who watches here besides you and Rex and the rest of the team. But anyway, little joke there. But Vlad, you know what? That makes sense. What I would say is the reason that's illegal is because you're not the freeholder of that property. So if you're renting and you rent out rooms, you're effectively subletting, and subletting is not something that people look on kindly in the UK, specifically in the London market. So what you need to do is you need to find the right way to do those things, and this is what we coach people on, etc. So Vlad, you know, again, it's good that you semi house hacked, but again, it's not about the illegal approaches, it's all about the legal approach. It's all about the legal approaches, so you can guarantee that you move further faster without the risk of potentially getting caught, as you put it. So Vlad, again, thank you for your comment. Vlad goes on to say he has built a really good account with 4.6/5 reviews from 100 renters. That is awesome. That's an awesome statistic to have in terms of your service apartment opportunity or your serviced apartment kind of account, I'd say, your Airbnb account. So that sounds really awesome. So well done for doing that. Vlad gives us the tear on the head emoji, saying that, you know what, he's glad he didn't get caught. All right, so keep it going. Let's jump into the comments. Again, guys, I've said it before. If you haven't hit that like button, press subscribe and hit the bell so we know and you know every single time we go live. So Vlad goes on to say here, he was thinking about rent to service accommodation, but COVID and the current market is too unstable for his risk appetite. Rent in London is a very expensive liability, especially if you do not have bookings. Yeah, I totally agree with that, Vlad. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't go down that route when you asked the question. You know, I think that one of the big things people forget is that if you do rent to rent or rent to service accommodations, These two strategies are great strategies. They're very good cash flow strategies. And if you're like me, I'm a cash flow investor. I love to focus on cash flow as one of the primary objectives when I go into a deal. But one thing I will say to you, Vlad, is one of the challenges with those things is you're not going to have any ownership of those properties, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Now, I'm very big on control over ownership. So I would always shoot for control instead of ownership first. Okay, control is my kind of good friend rather than ownership. But let me tell you something, ownership is where you get the long-term wealth. So in terms of the original question you asked, Vlad, you basically benchmarked how do I get on the ladder. To me, getting on the ladder is all about ownership. So in order to get into a position of ownership, doing rent to service accommodation probably isn't the best route for you. Doing rent to rent with HMOs probably isn't the best route for you. I would definitely stick with probably one of the three that I shared with you earlier. That if I had my time again, if I was starting all over again, that's the way I would have done it. I would have house hacked as early as I could. The reason why is because you can be 15, 12, 13, 14 and start house hacking, okay? You can buy. If you're a 12-year-old, let me say this because I don't know if viewers are 12 when they watch this and they watch this channel, but let me share this for my young investors. If you are 12 years old, you can house hack. If you are 12 years old, you can be part of a 4 or 5 person team that come together to buy a property. And as a result of coming together to buy a property, collaborating, as I spoke about earlier to Vlad, you put yourself in a perfect position to now own a property that now you rent out 3 rooms, 4 rooms, 12 rooms, whatever it is, depending on the framework of the house. And now you generate an income, or now the house pays for itself and allows you to be freed up to go and buy more other properties. I've got a friend, who's doing really well in the property space, also in the property training space. And that's how he started his journey. He was 17 years old when he started buying property. And what he basically did is he reached out to his brother, he reached out to his family and said, look, can I buy a property in your name, but I own it and I pay for it and I make it happen? And his brother said, yeah. And that's how they started their journey as well. So guys, I want to share that with you. Vlad, I wouldn't tell you the rent to service accommodation route. I wouldn't tell you the rent to rent HMO route. And it's funny you're mentioning that as well, because you're actually talking about a video that I'm in the process of planning to actually record so that you guys can have some insight into that as well. And that video is basically talking about why I've focused on HMOs for the last 5 years rather than service accommodation, even though it's a great strategy. I work very closely with people who do service apartments, but I still don't go down that route for a number of reasons. And I wanted to share that stuff with you guys. So that's probably a video we're going to have coming out soon as well. If you guys would like a video like that, let me know in the apologies. If you guys would like a video like that, let me know in the live chat. If you're someone who's watching on replay, let me know in the comments if that's the kind of video you'd like. And look, side by side with all of this, guys, if there are specific video topics, specific video contents that you guys are interested in, let us know, okay? This channel is all about helping you guys move further faster in your property investing journey. So if you guys don't let us know what you want to learn about, then guys, obviously we're just going to create videos for you rather than create videos with you. So let us know. Again, if you're in the live chat right here, let us know, or side by side if you're watching on replay, let us know in the comments below. Always looking forward to hearing your comments, guys. All right, so Vlad goes on to say, regarding deal sourcing, how do we actually find investors? Is it mainly by online marketing? No, online marketing is not the primary way you need to use to find investors. Online marketing is one tool in a toolbox, but if you have a toolbox, you understand that there are multiple things you need to do. Now, the way all tools work may be the same, i.e. my hand goes on the tool and then the tool becomes able to be used, or my hand goes on the tool and even though this tool is now electronic and digital, it now can actually be used. The point is the tools may be used in the same way, they may have the same central tenets, but the tools are very, very different. A pen and a stylus are 2 different tools which can allow us to do 2 different things, but they're both used the same way, with my hand basically as the architect and the fulcrum behind them. So the point I'm making is, yes, online marketing is a great tool, but online marketing shouldn't be the only tool that you're using. There are several other tools you can use in order to build an investor list. One of those is actually contacting your friends and family, okay, people that you know, people that you're around. The second thing that you need to make sure you do, regardless of how you find investors, is make sure you have a qualification process. This is something that not enough people in the property space teach, and it really irks me. I see so many people saying, oh, I'll teach you how to become financially free, all these guys running their webinars, but the funniest thing is none of them teach you how to actually qualify an investor. And this is one of the things we've been teaching for a long time on our online program, because it's so important. You have to know how to qualify people. If you don't know how to qualify people, you may just be wasting your time with a bunch of people who say, yeah, I'm looking for deals, but they're looking for nothing except for to waste your time. So guys, you know, I just think you need to really just tune into that. So Rex says in the comments, top stuff. Goes on to say 10 stars. Thank you ever so much for your star rating, Rex. I love it. Rex says you're going hard in the paint today, Samuel. And Rex goes on to say, thanks, Samuel. Most welcome, Rex. This is what we do. As you know, you've been on the show before, so you know that this is the place where you get all of your property questions answered. And that's the reason why we do the show, because we want to help people move further faster in their property investing journey. Now, guys, here's the last call. If you haven't heard it already, hit that like button side by side with that, press subscribe, and also hit the bell notification so we and you can be notified every single time that we drop another video. All right, now I had 2 more articles, but the time is far spent. We have been going through it like no man's business. But guys, that is great. That's fantastic. That's because you guys have been asking the questions, and this is what we've been asking for. So guys, keep doing what you're doing, and we will keep doing what we are doing too. Now, with all of that being said, what I want to do is I want to share with you guys our free resource, absolutely free for you, in order for you to take full advantage and move further faster in your property investing journey. If you have not gone and read this ebook right here, go get the ebook. It's absolutely free. You can go to the link impactproperties.co.uk/sourcing blueprint. I'll say that again. That's impactproperties.co.uk/sourcing blueprint. And one more time, for the people who are in the tech world, in a whole nother space, in a whole nother place, who are still trying to understand exactly what we're talking about, you can go to the link impactproperties.co.uk/sourcing blueprint. Go and get your free sourcing blueprint from that link, absolutely free, and you can make sure that you start to understand how you can move further faster as it pertains to your property investing journey. The ebook's free, the ebook's there. Go get your ebook. And I think the team have said that there's still even the connection to the free resources. So if you go and get the ebook today, okay, right now, if you go and get the ebook today, okay, and I'm only saying right now because I don't know if they're still going to be available tomorrow. Sometimes we sell out of these, and as a result of selling out of these, we stop. If you go get the ebook, straight after you get the ebook, you will be given potentially the offer to go and get 1, 2, or all 3 of these, okay, absolutely free. Now, for those of you who have no idea what these are, this is the 30 Ways in 30 Days training program, where I break down 30 different ways you can generate revenue using property. So for someone like you, Vlad, who asked the question, what do you expect or what do you suggest I do? This resource is going to be key for you. If you haven't heard about this, this is the Team 10 resource, where I break down the 10 key players you need in order to build a successful property power team. Or if you haven't heard about this, this is the Property Investors A to Z, where I break down from the letter A to the letter Z, a word in property to keep you guys tuned in and help you understand the lingo. So when you're having conversations with property people, you are not lost. Now, you can get all 3 of those. I think they're still all free. All you have to do is pay for shipping, and I think the shipping is roughly £8 per video program. So guys, you can go get this free ebook right here, Sourcing Blueprint, at impactproperties.co.uk/sourcingblueprint.com side impactproperties.co.uk/sourcing blueprint. That's the link. And as you go and get that, you know, the next page should give you the offer, if it's still available, for the 30 Ways in 30 Days training program, absolutely free. All you do is pay for shipping. Guys, if I haven't given you value today, I don't know what I've given you. But guys, without further ado, it's that time that I'm about to love you and leave you. And what I'm going to say to you is, if you have not seen this video, you need to go watch this video, how to invest in property in the year 2021 and beyond. This specific, I'm going to say it again because I want you to hear it clearly. This specific video will give you insights in terms of how you can look at the control mechanism rather than just the ownership mechanism of property investing and move to the next level in your property investing journey. I'm Samuel Ikhinmwin. If you've had value on today's show, let me see in the chat by writing the word value. And with all of that being said, as I usually say, happy investing. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.